Good morning. My name is Stephanie, presenting Brunswick House, built on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Overend Street is a short one-way street located between arterial Sydney Road and Bygone Street. It's a Victorian terrace located in an area historically known for its clay and bluestone quarries, now filled to form the parks you see in Brunswick today. The property sits 6 houses in on a narrow block 5 meters wide, orientated north-south, with the bluestone laneway behind. The project is an inner city heritage infill development to cater for our client Guy, his dog Womble, his cat Julia, and the potential to accommodate his partner in future. There's no plans for kids in this project. Guy is a psychologist who works from home and values the solitude and intimacy of a safe space, which was lacking in the existing house. The plans show the typical layover of a bygone era, living sandwiched between centrally with little access to light, ancillary wet areas buffeting the only outlook to landscape, resulting in a closed plan. Some key concerns: bathroom blocking the back, lounge as thoroughfare, and the lack of storage, light, and insulation, and a connection to the outdoors. He didn't want a large, flashy reno, instead valued maintaining as much of the garden and adding more amenity internally through a thorough reconfiguration. Tactics to respond to his brief: terracing to create a connection to the garden, introducing courtyards, allowing light to penetrate, creating sightlines to greenery, a crucial consideration on narrow inner city blocks like this. The connection to landscape was reinterpreted by a series of green zones, a front productive garden, a central courtyard, and the back garden reimagined as a second courtyard by way of sandwiching it between the house and a rear pavilion. Looking at the proposed plan up the top, the extension was all about rectifying the defunct terrace typology common to the era, but in resistance to contemporary open living, lounge and dining is partitioned by a central wet zone, and it's funneled between 2 hallways. This divides the spaces into intimate gestures, creating separation within a seemingly open volume. The first 2 rooms were maintained for heritage reasons, and the visual bulk needed to be considered from the front. Additional amenity was configured under a steep skillion roof with solar array adjacent. This was possible by terracing and afforded an increase of ceiling height for a mezzanine, seemingly luxurious when juxtaposed by the narrowness of the property, and the roof form appears conservative from the front due to the level changes. Clerestory windows allow light to penetrate, and the play of light and shadow as day plots its course is slowly unfolding as a constant joy and delight for the client. You'll see down the bottom here just some small plans to orientate yourself to where you are as I move through the images. Joinery is used to craft space, and paired with robust materials creates a timeless backdrop for his everyday life. In reference to site context, materials selected externally were brick and bluestone, and establishing the garden was a way to poetically pay homage to the story of Brunswick's quarries, which were now established parks and gardens. The history lies beyond the tidal boundary as well. Bluestone laneways that we see behind many of these main streets came from Brunswick and its surrounds, much like the bluestone laneway here behind the site. I'll now take you to the plan from front to rear. So the front bedroom was retained with new joinery and remedial works and drapery. This space also acts as a moment of private retreat from the new addition. The second bedroom functions as his study and office, again with similar remedial works and grass cloth joinery. Existing mantelpiece was replaced and retained, and the firework was retained to keep its story. As the center of the house, we find ourselves compressed in the existing hallway, Euro laundry hidden behind thick curtains to the side. Light boxes are used as a way to introduce the play of shadow and light in the small space and provide a soft glow as opposed to bright downlights. Moving through the hallway to the east leads to a central bathroom. Soft light and deep skylight here provides a change of pace and mood, further acting to a soft reprieve in the home. As we move through the hallway to the west, there is a release into a double height dining area. This intimate space is considered from both angles of private dining and public entertaining. So how it would feel to a person when they dine alone and with friends, in contrast to large open plan, which could end up feeling cavernous for one. Dining area is often a sit spot for the cat as well. She's partial to sunning herself. The corner banquette invites a moment of pause with clear view to the galley kitchen and garden and to the courtyard behind. Overlapping joinery and timber detailing create seamless transitions from dining to kitchen in the really modest space. Moving through the kitchen reveals access to mezzanine above. Clerestory windows from the mezzanine allow light to stream into the living space beyond. The house tracks movement of light over time, and the passing of day traces across the walls with the use of carefully placed windows, giving our client a connection to time from inside the home. Mezzanine functions as guest bed, rumpus, or future retreat, but ultimately it works really hard in creating a zoning effect for the spaces below. Windows of the mezz have an instant ventilating effect for the house on hot days. Living space is accessed by both hallways and gives once again to that expansive verticality. Further decompression is invited by stepping down and the change of floor finish from concrete to brick laid in the same stack bond pattern on the boundary wall. Living is framed by inbuilt sofa and provides views of garden as well as views upwards towards the mezz. Overlapping lines of joinery create a feeling of being nestled in the tall volume. Materials were carefully considered, not just aesthetically, but also from a durability and robustness point of view. So we looked at low VOCs and a reduction of artificial finishes in preference to natural materials like timber, fabric, and grass cloth. Robust materials like concrete brick for hard-wearing surfaces and thermal conductivity. So the new extension to the rear totaled just 55 square meters, and the mezzanine added an additional 12 square meters. The overall extension protruded 1 meter into the garden in total. Looking to the landscape now, in the near future, vines will grow over the pavilion and fences to form a green threshold. East and west fences over time create a green bowl effect, connecting the client to the garden privately. So these are recent images just from about a week ago. Professional shots were taken a couple of months ago now, 3 months.
45 seconds remaining.
Thanks. Back pavilion provides a buffer to the laneway and ample storage while maintaining access to a sewer outlet. Deep eaves provide protection and shading and an integrated underground water tank. The rear facade sits humbly between neighboring masses. Skillion roof form here is finally seen in its full extent. Gower roots will dull over time, provide a soft texture to the streetscape. Resulting architecture is crafted to be lived in, not for show. It's what we aim for all our projects. We see it as an important value to aspire to, especially for these narrow inner city sites. In this instance, the house is given a new lease of life for the client and for his loved ones.